bit larger than the first maybe?
Yeah, because we have the year 7 and year 6.
Okay, also so much, six right?
Yeah.
So I should finish by 2:40.
Yes.
2:40.
Right, good afternoon. Thank you, Year 7, for making your way down at the correct time this time. And welcome to Year 6s over from the junior school. So, about 2 months ago, one of our Year 11 students came to talk to me about this idea of MOLIP, which he said was a particular approach that he used for studying mathematics. And he introduced me to Professor Hwang, who first wrote and published a best-selling book about this back in 2007. And since then, he has been working with students right the way from university students all the way down to Year 5 students, teaching them about this approach, this immersive approach to studying. And as part of our Math Enrichment Week, we're lucky that he has come down to Jeju today to talk to you about this approach to studying mathematics. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it. I hope it makes you think about the way that you study math. You all study math in class several times a week. You all have to think about maths a lot, and I hope it makes you reflect on the way that you think about mathematics. So I'm going to hand over to Professor Hwang now, and I hope you enjoy the talk.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. My name is Nong-Moon Hwang, and I am an Emeritus Professor of Seoul National University, and now I'm a CEO of Immersion Academy. Let me briefly explain how I came to experience the special immersion. Our life is a very precious opportunity that we only get once. So then naturally we have a question. How should I live this precious life? Especially, how should I live so that I may not regret on the last day of my life? Okay? So I have thought about that question for a long time, and I reached a conclusion, very clear conclusion. I have to live to the fullest potential of mine, okay, in order not to regret at the end of my life. So at the time, I was a researcher. So as a researcher, how should I fully use my potential? And I thought, if I have a problem to solve, when the problem is difficult, okay, then instead of giving up, I should continue to think without stopping for a second until it is solved. Okay? Then I practice that. So when I have a problem to solve, intentionally, I make an effort to continue to think without stopping for a second. So if I just think while driving, while eating, while walking, okay, then after a few days of struggle, I reach a state of 100% concentration. Okay, it's very special. In that state, just the problem and you exist in the whole universe. Okay, and miraculous ideas come out very frequently, and you feel quite happy. So if you stay there for weeks, then you feel like you live in heaven. So after experiencing that special immersion, I realized how to use my brain, okay? Because I know how to reach such a kind of special state by intentional effort. I challenge the very big problem in our field of material science and engineering. And I could solve all those problems which had not been solved for more than 50 years, 70 years, okay? So I published a book on my experience in 2007, and it became the bestseller and steady seller book. I recently published the expanded version. So one of the students from here attended our immersion camp, and she prepared her review in English. So I will show that review. At the time, she was 7th grade. So I will read the part highlighted by yellow. Although I was at first horrified by the prospect of spending nearly a week away from any form of entertainment other than math, because when you attend the Mori camp, you have to submit to your smartphones, okay, cellular phones. So most students have negative feeling. This perspective was demolished by the first day of slow thinking. Relieved from any stress or urge for speed and accuracy, I was able to truly put my mind at ease and go through the questions at my pace. Throughout several days, as time goes, the level of immersion increase, okay? Then you can have a positive emotion. I slowly went through the same schedule, and all the burden heaped upon me by school and academies seemed to be washed away by the ecstasy and jubilance the joy of solving a long-pondered question brought me. You have this kind of positive emotion because dopamine, a lot of dopamine come out when you experience success. After this camp, I plan to incorporate the techniques I have learned in this camp into my daily life. Instead of giving up easily, I will trust the process and let myself find the answer and relax. I plan to find a comfortable seat where I can sit for a long time. So we call it immersion chair, where you can sit in a state of relaxation, okay, and think slowly. We call it slow thinking. I've actually tried this at school, and although it was challenging at first, I was able to think of ideas that led to me solving question after question. So I'd like to explain how I studied math when I was a middle and high school boy. At the time, I think when I have a problem, some challenging problem, which I don't know at first, I thought I compete with the problem, okay? So if I gave up and see the solution, that means I lose to the problem, okay? So I don't like being a loser, so gradually I did not give up, okay? So if I do not give up and continue to think about the problem, and if I finally solve the problem, then I win the problem. I win the game. I win the competition. Okay. So then, gradually, the time you do not give up increase. Okay. So finally, I never give up, and even if it took days or weeks or months, okay, I never gave up. Then, so I repeated this experience over and over again. Then finally, I realized very important fact, which is any math problem can be solved with persistence, okay? And you do not lose if you do not give up, which is similar to saying you never fail until you stop trying. This is very famous words by very famous scientist. Can you guess who said this? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Einstein. Okay, Einstein said this. Then there are a lot of benefits studying in this way. If you compete with math problems, it's an interesting game. Okay, it's a very funny and interesting game. So it made me engaged in the problem and made me enjoy solving math problems. And the frequent thinking about math problems developed mathematical thinking skills, and it improves your problem-solving abilities. And because you are more and more interested in studying math, and your thinking abilities are enhanced, naturally your math grade becomes better and better. Okay? So, do you know who he is? Anybody know who he is? He's 자청, 자수성가한 청년. Okay, he's the bestseller author of 역행자, and in this YouTube video, he mentioned my book. He read my book and applied his way of studying math, and his mark increased abruptly. Okay, I'll show this video.
자청입니다. 오늘 하루빨리 전 국민에게 이 진짜 특별한 기술을 알려드리고 싶어서 이 영상을 찍게 되었어요. 이건 제 옛날 모습인데요. 이때는 진짜 열등한 삶을 살았어요. 뭘 해도 안 되고 정말 동물처럼 아무 생각 없이 살았던 것 같아요. 하지만 지금은 운이 좋게도 100명이 넘는 직원분들과 함께 이상한 마케팅이라는 사업을 하고 있고 이러한 사업들을 진행을 하고 있습니다. 많이 삶이 바뀌었죠. 최근에 낸 역행자라는 책은 8개월 만에 40만 부가 팔리면서 올해의 책에 선정되기도 했어요. 어떻게 180도 인생이 바뀌었을까요? 이 기술을 요약해서 말씀을 드려볼 생각입니다. 그건 정말 유명한 몰입이라는 책 덕분에 이 기술을 습득함으로써 저는 바뀌었다고 생각을 해요. 제가 정말 막장으로 살다가 22살에 대학이라는 걸 가기로 결심을 합니다. 이때 재수학원을 다니면서 우연히 황농문 교수의 몰입이라는 책을 읽었어요. 저는 22살에 수능 공부를 하면서 원래 7등급이었어요. 거의 최악의 점수죠. 수학 문제 같은 경우에도 30초 보다가 답이 안 나오면 답지를 보던 선택을 했었어요. 몰입이라는 책을 읽은 후에 전략을 달리합니다. 한 문제를 1시간, 2시간까지도 고민하면서 풀어냈어요. 근데 원래는 양으로 해야 된다는 압박감이 심했어요. 2시간이라는 시간은 30문제를 더 풀 수 있는 시간이에요. 그러면 뭔가 실력이 느는 것 같죠. 근데 저는 몰입이라는 책을 읽고 나서 한 문제를 2시간씩 생각하는 습관을 기르기 시작했어요. 근데 정말 신기한 경험을 했어요. 한두 시간 동안 생각을 하니까 진짜 초반에 접근조차 안 됐던 문제들이 풀리기 시작하고 결국에는 풀어냈을 때 그 쾌락이 엄청나더라고요. 그리고 30문제, 100문제를 푸는 것보다 한 문제를 2시간씩 생각하는 게 수학 실력을 급상승을 시켜줬습니다. 그래서 저는 몇 개월 만에 모의고사 1등급을 유지하는 기적을 이뤄내기 시작해요. 한두 시간 만에 못 푸는 문제들도 있었지만 그 정도로 고민을 한 다음에 답지를 보면은 정말 많은 학습을 할 수 있게 되더라고요.
However, this way of studying math has much more significant impact beyond just math grade. When I do research at KAIST, I could solve, when I found the problem in our laboratory, I just approached in the same way, which I had in my school days, in my middle and high school days. So I did not give up. Okay, I continued to challenge the problem to solve. So it takes sometimes weeks or months. Then I could solve all the problems in our laboratory. So my professor and peers were quite surprised at my abilities to solve problems. And I was most surprised because my academic grade is not so good. It's on the average. But for me, doing research seems to be very easy. So I try to understand why I'm so good at doing research, even though my academic performance was on the average. It's because examination, okay, and research are different. Okay, let me tell you how they differ. The exam tests knowledge and understanding of existing content. Okay, so you should memorize the content in the textbook or notebook, so in order to make a good mark. But research involves solving problems not addressed in existing resources. You can see all the literature available in library or in internet or using artificial intelligence, but you have to solve the problem which are not, whose solutions are not available there. Okay, so you need to have a creativity, and you need to have a creative solving problem. Okay, so research pushes the boundaries of human knowledge. In doing research, you are at the front of knowledge, and you need to have the ability to go one step further, okay, from that boundary. So research is very similar to the activity of independently thinking through and solving mathematical problems that you initially cannot solve. Okay? So also it has another very important impact on the experience of immersion. So thanks to my prior experience of studying math in this unique way, I was able to engage in non-stop thinking for several days, and this allowed me to experience a special immersion. Okay? When the level of immersion is high, it enhanced intellectual ability. So if you are in high immersion, your efficiency in studying is very high, and you can get creative ideas relatively easily. And you have positive emotion of feeling good and being joyful and happy. Then, most important question is how you can increase the level of immersion. Okay? How can you increase the immersion level? By deliberate effort. Is this. Just non-stop thinking increase the level of immersion. Okay? This is sure fact. I experienced this over and over again, and many people who follow my advice experience this over and over again. It takes time, but you have to think in a state of relaxation, because if you think with tension, you cannot continue because of fatigue or because of side effect of headache, okay, or stress. Okay, so you have to be in a state of relaxation. I called it 1 second rule. And the state of 100% immersion is achieved after roughly 45 hours of continual thinking. And, but everybody cannot do this because if they are not trained in this way of thinking, they cannot do that, okay? So for beginners, this state is achieved after much longer time, okay? Then, how can the concept of immersion be applied to studying mathematics? I'd like to introduce this person. Do you know who he is? Anybody know who he is? He is very famous futurist. He's Alvin Toffler, okay? So he says a lot of good things about Korea, but he has very important critiques on Korea education is like this. I simply don't understand Korean. Korean students spend 15 hours a day studying things that will be useless in the future for jobs that don't even exist yet. That is not students' fault. It's the fault of others, especially parents who cannot see what lies ahead. I perfectly agree with this statement. You do not know, how you study because you do not experience the society. You study very hard, but many students study things that will be useless in the future. So what kind of knowledge is useless? A lot of students just memorize of the content in the text, but that is easily accessible by internet or AI, by smartphone. Then why you make so much effort to memorize that? That's useless. Then what is useful knowledge? Which should you develop? What is useful? That is creativity and creative problem-solving ability. So students should cultivate creativity and creative problem-solving ability. And many people do not know what is creativity and what is creative problem-solving ability. So I try to explain to audience, what is creativity and what is creative problem-solving ability. So I invented this diagram. There are known domain of knowledge, means that is known to mankind, whether they are in the library or in the internet or in any books. We know. There are known domain of knowledge, and there are unknown domain. Then there is the boundary between them. This boundary, we can say, is the frontier of knowledge. If you have a creativity, if you don't have a creativity, if you are here, you cannot take a step further into unknown area. If you do not have any creativity or you don't have a creative problem-solving ability. But if you have creativity and creative problem-solving ability, you can easily go in this unknown area. So you should develop this ability to take one step further into unknown area. Do you think you develop this ability in your way of studying? It's most important. Then how can we develop this ability? It's a very important question. So let me show you a very simple way, very easy way to practice. This is my suggestion. Each individual has their personal domain of knowledge. So you are 6th or 7th grade, and you have such a domain of knowledge. And if you encounter some problem to solve, which you do not know, which you do not know how to approach initially, then that's the limit of your knowledge. In that situation, if you look at the solution, then you just add one more useless knowledge. But instead of seeing the solution, if you challenge that problem until you solve it, then you just make a breakthrough. You just go one step further of your boundary. So if you repeat this kind of challenging at the front of your knowledge over and over again, Okay? If you experience that kind of success for more than 100 times, then when you grow up and you are in this situation, you can go one step further very easily, okay? Because you are trained in that way. So even with the known domain of knowledge, if students challenge themselves without prior instruction, they confront their intellectual limit. This is like solving problems at the front of knowledge, okay? So it's like doing research. If you do not see the solution, the situation is very similar to when you are doing research, okay? So I encourage you, when you encounter some difficult problem that you don't know how to approach at all, never give up, okay? Just continue to challenge the problem. But you do not hurry. You should not think hastily, okay? You should not have any constraint of time. So take your time by slow thinking, state of relaxation. So I suggest immersion-based learning. First, the problem should be challenging. Okay? Initially, you should not know. And instead of giving up, you have to respond to it by increasing immersion. When your immersion level is low, you do not have intellectual ability to solve it. But by thinking on it, okay, without stopping, your level of immersion on that specific problem increase. So you can solve it. Like after 30 minutes, 1 hour, 5 hours, okay, you can solve it because your level of immersion or your level of intellectual ability for that problem increase. Okay, so you need to experience that over and over again. Then you experience success. It's very important because while you struggle to solve the problem, you kind of have negative emotion, okay? You are feeling very bored, okay? Or even though you try to think in a state of relaxation, some kind of stress, okay? But once you experience success, that means you are rewarded by a lot of dopamine, okay? So then because of positive experience, you naturally want to challenge again. So it's the situations like this. I thought I'd never be able to do it at first, but I kept trying and eventually solve it. Okay, so you better repeat this experience over and over again. So I think this is one of the most valuable educational experience. And this kind of studying or learning leads you to grow into individual with a challenging spirit, creativity, and passion. Let me introduce some challenging problems for middle school students. Prove that the sum of inner angles of triangle is 180 before you learn this thing without any prior knowledge. This problem was solved by Pascal when he was 12 years old. And the sum of the natural number, it was solved by the Gauss, who is a genius in math, okay, Gauss, when he was 10 years old. And the relation between sides of right triangle, which is known as the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, you just challenge this problem without prior knowledge. Also, you can challenge this problem. Here, t is time and y is displacement. And this curve is y equal t to the power of 3. At point P, which is 2, 8, you need to determine the slope of the tangent, okay, which is instantaneous velocity at P. This problem was first solved by Newton. Okay? So before learning differentiation, which you learn at high school, the middle school student can challenge this kind of problem. In 2007, SBS special team visited me and interviewed with me on flow or immersion. So I suggest to them, because I want to show the power of immersive thinking to the audience, I suggest to them, even middle school students, third year of middle school student, can solve the problem of differentiation without learning them at high school, without learning them, if they are given a time of 1 month, okay? So they are interested in my suggestion and they decide to do that experiment, but it was a semester, not vacation. So 1 month was not available. So we did experiment of short version. So from Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon, so 2 nights and 3 days, we did that experiment. Okay? So I will show that video.
제작진은 서울의 한 중학교의 협조를 얻어 황농문 교수의 몰입 방법을 실험해 보기로 했습니다. 참여한 학생들은 수학 성적이 보통 이상인 남녀 각 5명. 이들은 2박 3일 동안 황 교수의 지도에 따라 몰입에 들어가 주어지는 수학 문제를 풀기로 했습니다.
이번에는 며칠간 생각하는 거 할 거야. 그러니까 2, 3일간 생각했던 학생은 그대로 하면 돼.
2박 3일간 한 문제에만 매달리는 몰입 실험. 과연 아이들은 문제를 풀 수 있을까요? 몰입 실험 첫째 날 먼저 문제가 공개됐습니다.
고등학교 가서 배울 내용이고 그 옛날에 그 뉴턴이라는 천재가 이렇게 해결한 거예요.
배우지 않은 문제를 풀어야 한다는 말에 다들 긴장하는데 중학교 3학년인 아이들에게 주어진 문제는 고등학교 2학년 과정에서 배우는 미분. 물론 선행학습을 한 아이는 없습니다. 문제가 무엇인지부터 해결해야 하는 상황. 단 한 문제를 받아든 것부터 공식 없이 수학 문제를 푸는 것까지 아이들에게는 모두 낯설기만 합니다. 막막해 하는가 하면 일단 덤벼들고 보지만 진전이 없는 것은 비슷합니다.
어떻게 해야 되지?
전혀 모르겠어요.
네, 아직 전혀 모르겠어요.
실험을 시작한 지 2시간이 가까워 옵니다. 벌써 흥미를 잃은 듯한 학생도 보이고 문제에 몰두해도 다들 지친 표정입니다. 아예 자리를 박차고 나가는 우종이.
공기도 좀 탁한 것 같고 좀 시험 공개 맞으면 좀 생각이 좀 잘 나니까 해가지고.
그래. 힘들지 않아요?
쉽진 않죠. 쉽진 않은데 그래도 뭐 나름 생각하는 것도 재밌고 그 진짜 이거 풀었을 때 성취감을 생각하면 풀었었는데 그것도 중간에 그 공식을
생각하는 게 재미있다는 우종이 문제에 제대로 몰입한 것 같지요? 2시간이 지났을 무렵
여기 저 답 나온 것 같아.
정답보다 풀이 과정이 중요합니다. 윤근이가 미분의 개념을 이해했는지 풀이 과정부터 살펴보는 황 교수.
실질적으로 풀었네. 실질적으로 풀었어. 문제화시켜서.
뉴턴이 미분 공식을 발견하기까지 거친 사고의 과정을 그대로 경험한 윤근이. 스스로 뉴턴이 되어본 경험은 윤근이에게 평생 잊지 못할 기억으로 남지 않을까요?
미분이라고 하는 거는 그런 뉴턴과 같은 천재만이 할 수 있다고 생각을 하는데 생각을 하면 이제 뭐 보통의 머리를 가진 학생들도 얼마든지 할 수 있다. 중요한 거는 오랜 시간을 포기하지 않고 생각하는 거다. 그러면 할 수 있다.
몰입 실험 이틀째. 아이들이 좀 더 편안한 분위기에서 문제에 몰입할 수 있도록 장소를 야외로 옮겼습니다. 저마다 마음에 드는 장소를 찾아 생각에 빠져든 아이들. 한정된 시간 안에 가능한 한 많은 문제를 풀어야 하는 교실 수업에 길들여진 아이들도 어느새 황 교수의 몰입 방법에 익숙해진 듯합니다.
A라는 점을 하나를 잡는데
이틀째 오전, 수민이가 두 번째로 문제를 풀어냈습니다.
Y의 값을 구하면 그 Y는 X
윤근이와는 다른 방식으로 목적지에 도착한 수민이. 몰입 중에 우연히 떠오른 한 가지 아이디어가 문제 해결의 열쇠가 됐습니다.
계속 여러 가지 다방면으로 생각을 해보니까 떠올라서 풀게 됐는데 금세 풀려서 되게 뿌듯했어요.
실험은 예정대로 2박 3일 동안 진행됐습니다. 둘째 날까지 푼 학생은 2명. 마지막 날 보충 설명을 들은 7명의 학생들이 스스로 답을 찾아냈습니다. 생전 처음 해본 2박 3일간의 몰입 경험. 아이들은 무엇을 얻었을까요?
계속 생각하다 보니까 답은 나오게 되더라고요.
힘을 들었는데 정말 굉장히 좋은 경험이었던 것 같아요. 솔직히 배우지도 않은 거를 이렇게 스스로 계속 노력해서 풀었다는 것 자체가 정말 뿌듯해요.
Yes. So for convenience, I divide immersion into strong immersion and weak immersion. And strong immersion can be reached by non-stop thinking without stopping for a second for several days. Okay, then you can reach the state of 100% immersion. This beneficial effect is much more pronounced than weak immersion. Then just try to guess. How long is it possible to practice the 1 second rule in a relaxed state? How long do you think is possible? Okay. It is limitless. Okay. Somebody just extended practicing 1 second rule as long as 500 days. It is introduced in my recent book. It's expanded version of 몰입. Okay. So I like to explain this very impressive student. He was addicted to game and smartphone. Okay. So the story of this student is introduced in this YouTube video. So let me briefly show the part of it.
스마트폰 중독이었다고 하는데 이렇게 몰입을 하고 나서 스마트폰보다 공부가 훨씬 재밌어진 거를 다른 분들은 믿기 어려워할 거예요. 그래서 그걸 한번 얘기를 해볼래요?
제가 몰입 캠프 처음 들어갔을 때 휴대폰을 제출하고 한 번도 안 받는다는 걸 그 몰입 캠프 휴대폰을 낼 때 알았거든요. 그래서 엄청 불안하고 그랬는데 몰입을 계속 하다 보니까 스마트폰 게임이나 스마트폰 유튜브 시청 이런 거보다 몰입하면서 문제 푸는 게 훨씬 재밌는 거예요. 캠프 끝나고 나서 지금까지도 핸드폰 사용량도 거의 줄이고 스마트폰 게임은 손도 안 대고 있고요. 스마트폰에 대한 의욕도 떨어져가지고 정말 처음엔 안 믿겼는데 이렇게 실제로 해보니까 정말로 믿기고 실현되고 있는 게 신기합니다.
So let's show you his review after attending the session of 10 nights and 11 days. I translate the underlined part. By immersing myself in this way, I was able to solve 2 proofs of the Pythagorean theorem that I had never heard of before in 14 hours and 30 minutes. Once in 4 hours, and the second method in 10 hours and 30 minutes. And solve the problem of finding the slope of the tangent in differentiation in 33 hours. Okay? Then, after solving such a problem, he was so proud and so happy. So he told us that studying math in this way is much more fun than playing games. Okay? So he decided for the 2024 summer camp, I plan to sign up for all sessions and experience strong immersion for a whole month. Okay, so he signed all the session. So he fully immersed during 23 days. Okay, so then if you practice the 1 second rule in a relaxed state for 23 days without stopping, okay, without stopping, what will happen? Let me show what happened. Because I select a few, okay, because it's too long. So it's day 3 of strong immersion. I solved a problem that seemed absolutely unsolvable by thinking about it all day while keeping the 1 second rule. It took 9 hours. Thanks to slow thinking, I didn't feel tired at all during those 9 hours. When I solved it, I felt like I was flying. It's day 6 of strong immersion. I kept thinking about the problem using the 1 second rule and finally solved it in 10 hours. It felt amazing. After celebrating for 30 minutes, I received a new problem and have been thinking about it for 5 hours. Even though I haven't solved it yet, I'm extremely happy. It's day 14. I solved the problem after 14 hours of focus. From the moment I woke up until I solved it at 8 p.m., I barely spoke a word and didn't take even a 0.1 second break. Just kept thinking about the problem. I was able to maintain 100% immersion all day. It was one of the happiest days of my life. I was reminded again, the joy of immersion is far beyond the fun of games. It's day 16. Using the 1 second rule and slow thinking, incredible ideas started to come to mind. Eventually, I solved the problem after 14 hours. I maintained 100% immersion all day again today. Okay, let's jump to day 22. Today, I finally solved the killer problem after 35 hours. I felt so overwhelmingly happy. I almost went crazy with joy. So these examples show that it is possible to practice the 1 second rule for 23 days, 23 consecutive days, okay, without stopping. Then he was so happy with this experience, he signed up all the session the last winter, okay? So, and I just introduced some highlight, because after 45 hours, around 45 hours of continuous thinking, he can reach the special immersion I experienced, okay? So he experienced that 3 times. So let me show. Today was the best day ever. I finally solved a problem that had been troubling me, and it took 46 hours. It's the longest I've ever focused on a single problem, and the experience felt completely different. For the first 44 hours, it was pure 100% immersion. But after that point, okay, it's the special immersion I experienced. Something changed. I can't quite put it into words. It's difficult to express into words, okay, by words. But if I had to describe it, it felt like I broke through the limit of immersion. Until now, I had only experienced strong, focused immersion at 100%, but today, it felt like 300%. It's a transcendence of consciousness. It's a very special state, okay? Then, this is the first experience Then he challenged another difficult problem. After it has been 20 hours now, and I have been now been working on the same problem for 36 hours, and then today I crossed the 50-hour mark on this problem. Starting from hour 47, I entered state of strong immersion. So he experienced again. Okay. Since then, I've been applying the 1-second rule effortlessly. Okay. Then it's very easy to continue to think. It just happens naturally now. I'm enjoying this so much that I sometimes find myself smiling or even chuckling while working on the problem. I really want to maintain this state. Then, because you feel quite happy, you can extend the challenge as long as you want, okay? So finally, after 81 hours, he solved the problem, okay? Then it's his third experience. Today, I finally truly solved the problem. It took 48 hours. Around the 47th hour, I felt myself enter a state of strong immersion. And in that brief final hour, I had what felt like a flood of miraculous ideas. Okay? I feel proud and fulfilled. So this student has experienced the special state of immersion I have encountered 3 times. So if you are more interested in this kind of studying, you can see this YouTube video. And then what beneficial effects can studying using an immersion-based learning method have? This is the change. Its x-axis is the day, okay? In 10 nights and 11 days, with time, the problem difficulty increase, degree of immersion increase, feeling positive emotion increase, degree of fun increase, okay? And let me introduce what kind of benefit if you study in this way. So as an evidence, I like to introduce this very impressive student who entered Gyeongbuk National University Department of Computer Engineering through the GED. So this is his attendance sheet for middle school grades 1 to 3. The total attendance days is 101 or 2, especially on the 3rd grade. Number of early departure is 123. And late arrival, 30 and 3, okay? And number of absence, 2, okay? So these out of 191. And can you guess why he is like this? Can you guess? Because he was addicted to games, okay? Addicted to this game, Maple Story. So he said he was within number 10 in Korea, okay? So in high school, he dropped out after 7 days. Then 2016, he sent me an email. Hello, I am currently a GED student and I'm attempting immersion. So I advise him that if you encounter math problem which you do not solve at first, never give up, okay? Just challenge them with immersive thinking without stopping, but in a relaxed state, okay? So following my advice, he studied like that. I'm not looking at the answer sheet at all. I don't even know where it is. When I tell people, if you study like that, you find studying math is very fun, okay? So when I tell people around me that I find the math fun, they call me crazy. They do not understand, okay? So he entered Gyeongbuk National University's Department of Computer Engineering in 2018. And he continued to practice immersive thinking in computer algorithm, okay? So this is one of this. I'm currently solving a coding problem that represents the Tower of Hanoi. At first, it was really overwhelming, but I'm gradually finding the pattern, so it isn't boring. So this problem, he solved it after 9 hours. So he challenged another difficult problem. He solved it after 3 days of immersive thinking. He challenged another difficult problem. He solved it after 4 days of immersive thinking. Another difficult problem, he solved it after a week of immersive thinking. Another difficult problem, he solved it after 2 weeks of immersive thinking. And the hardest problem in algorithm, most difficult problem in algorithm, he solved it after immersive thinking of 18 days, okay? Then in 2023, it's 2023 summer, he sent me email. I did my best in the hackathon and won, receiving the grand prize in the Minister of Science and Technology Award. The next hackathon will be held in Seoul on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm trying to win there too. So he won the grand prize. Then the next hackathon, he won again, okay? And he won the gold medal. He won a grand prize, another award, another award, another award. This is all the award he got. So he received total of 33 awards, 3 ministerial awards, 12 national project grants, including 9 overseas training sessions. Do you know what is the most prestigious award in Korea for young men to receive? It's Korean Talent Award. Kim Hyuna and Son Hyun-jae received that award. Okay, he received that award. I received the Korea Talent Award. It feels like I received such a significant award under the guidance of you. So he received this at Sejong City. And this is the 2024 Korea Talent Award recipient booklet. There is a award acceptance speech. I especially want to thank Professor Nong-Moon from the Immersion Academy, who helped me realize the value of immersion in the 3rd year of middle school and guided me to live a joyful life through immersion. And in the personal growth and values he mentioned, I have grown by applying the value of challenge and response to my life through Professor Hwang Nong-Moon's immersion theory. So this is immersion-based learning. First, you have to challenge it, okay? And you have to respond to the challenge by increasing immersion. Okay? So initially, you cannot solve, but if you continue to think, it will increase your level of immersion and you give you ability to solve it, to give you intellectual ability to solve the problem, okay? Then you experience success, okay? Then it will be accompanied with dopamine. So you feel quite happy, and that experience of happiness will motivate you to challenge again, okay? So it's make a good cycle. So I encourage you to compete with the problems, okay? So if you give up and see the solution, then you lose to the problem, okay? And if you do not give up and continue to solve, then you win the game, okay? So then it will gradually increase the time spent not giving up. and you would never give up, okay? How long it will take. So let me conclude my talk. Immersion can be induced by intentional effort, okay? That's the most important finding I have. Immersion can be induced by intentional effort. Just non-stop thinking increased immersion, okay? And intentional immersion can be applied in various fields, not only solving math problems. It can be applied to preparing for the exam. It can be applied to sports. It can be applied to music, arts, okay? And education through immersive thinking is very powerful in developing creativity and creative problem solving, okay? Our life is very precious opportunity. So in this precious life, I like you fly your wing with immersion. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Year 7 and Year 6, for giving your attention so well during this afternoon's talk. I hope it gave you something to think about. I know now, Year 7s, you're going to have to get fairly quickly to period 9 and 10 lessons, and I'm sure Year 6s will need to get back to the junior school. So thank you again for your attention. Can we quietly dismiss ourselves out of the PAC and off to lessons? Thank you.